The New York Yankees have extended Aaron Hicks to a 7-year, $70 million contract, and this is a great thing. Welcome to Yankee Chatter. My name is Greg Andriano.
And I'm Brian McCormick.
Let's get right into it. As I said, the Yankees have extended center fielder Aaron Hicks to a 7-year deal worth $70 million. What do you think about this, Brad?
I think whether you love him or hate him, some people want him traded for Bryce Harper. Some people love the way he's underrated. But either way, you have to understand this is a team-friendly deal. If there's another young player locked up by cashing before free agency, I don't really see anything bad about it other than him maybe at some point blocking Florial. But I think that's going to we'll see how that goes in time. But as for right now, it's a good deal.
Right. I agree. Honestly, when I first saw it pop up on my phone, I was like, no.
Exactly.
Because Harper is still available, and I was kind of hoping the Yankees would make a big splash, but they didn't, so I'm over it now. But the contract starts this year. It has an option for an 8th year at $12.5 million, or the Yankees could buy him out for $1 million. But like I said, I saw that, I was like, why? But when I actually stopped and thought about it,
exactly,
this is what the Yankees need to be doing. We talked about it when Severino signed. They need to start locking up this young core and keeping them together for a very long time. And this is another step in that direction. You'll probably see some more extensions coming up with a couple other players. But, he's a very solid outfielder. He's one of the best outfielders in the game. Defensively speaking, he's very well rated, up there with Jackie Bradley Jr. as defensive-wise. Bradley's not as good with the bat, but he also had a breakout season last year, hitting career high in numbers with home runs in 27, RBI 79. The average was a little low for me. He hit 248, but he kind of struggled towards the end of the season. He was dealing with some injuries. But let's talk about where he came from. How did the Yankees get Aaron Hicks?
This is incredible how he got here. Yeah.
Yeah. So they gave up their third-string catcher, John Ryan Murphy, in a 1-for-1 trade with Minnesota back in 2016, prior to the 2016 season. You know where John Ryan Murphy is now? Pretty sure he's the backup catcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's not even with the Twins anymore. Yeah, he did not do well after the trade. So before he came to the Yanks, he was a career 225 hitter. He only had 20 home runs in 3 seasons and 78 RBIs. Oh, I made a mistake before. He had 79 RBIs with the Yankees last season, and he only had 78 in the 3 years he was with Minnesota.
Right.
And a 306 on-base percentage. Since becoming a Yankee, he's a 244 hitter, which you can see his numbers gone up. Again, not as good as I would like to see. I expect a little bit better batting average from the Yankees center fielder, but the home runs are there. He's got 50 home runs with the Yanks, 162 RBIs. Last year, 248, 27 dingers, 79 RBIs. He has gotten better every single season. Brad, what do you think?
Yeah, and you can see what Cashman's doing here. He's locking up this core group of players, and I do believe the Yankees really see him as a legitimate part of the core of their team moving forward. He is. I think they love the steady incline of development he's had since he joined the Yankees, and I don't think they could have projected he'd become this much of a player. I think they kind of saw him as more of a role player. I mean, when you trade your third round, well, they're not third round, but your third string catcher for a player, you don't really necessarily think you're getting a starter back, especially one that could run your center field for the New York Yankees.
That's very true.
That's exactly what he's turned into. I just said the batting average is low, but he does walk a ton, which is what the Yankees really like because he gets on base, and that's the biggest thing for Hicks. He strikes out a lot, but he also walks a lot.
He's like a mini Aaron Judge.
Very mini Aaron Judge.
Very mini, but yeah, in the same sense.
But no, and I like how they're locking these guys up. And the thing with Aaron Hicks is going forward, it's like I said, it's a team-friendly deal. So if they do need to trade him at some point, they have an abundance of outfielders. If Florial becomes ready at some point, and they need any other position, notably a pitcher, this is a contract teams will like to trade for.
Mm-hmm. It's a night and day between this contract and the one that Ellsbury signed. Ellsbury signed a monstrosity of a contract, and that's one of the main reasons why he's still a Yankee, because he gets injured and because his contract is so enormous that teams don't want to take on that annual salary. $10 million a year is very affordable. Any team in the major leagues would take that and take the kind of production that Aaron Hicks puts out. And I think I just figured out why I never was really on the Aaron Hicks train. Ever since he came to the Yankees, I was kind of so-so about
Right.
him. I never was sold on him. I always thought he wasn't the prototypical Yankee, and I think it's because of his batting average.
Well, I mean, his batting average is the prototypical Yankee now. I mean, that's what it is.
But when we grew up, we grew up with Bernie Williams as our center fielder, and he always hit for average. He won a couple batting titles. He was always
same with Johnny Damon, Melky Cabrera.
And even Ellsbury when he first came over, he was hitting 270, 260, up there.
Right.
And Aaron Hicks doesn't bring that, and I understand that he brings something completely different to the game. But I always like to see my team's hitters hit well and hit high for average. Getting on base and having a high on base percentage is always a good thing. But that's the other thing with baseball is, and why fans kind of get bored with it, is that it isn't quite as exciting watching someone walk. It's good statistically, but watching.
It's not what you want to. Yeah.
No.
It's not what brings guys in their seats.
He's a grinder. He grinds out at bats. He works counts. That's a very good thing, especially for someone at the top of the order. He has a fantastic glove, an amazing arm. He is a good package for the Yankees to have and for the Yankees to use as a piece to build a core of players. So the other great thing about him is he's a switch hitter. The Yankees don't have any other switch hitters on this roster.
It's huge for him, yeah.
And it's so right-handed heavy, and even though there's only a couple lefties in the lineup, and he's the only switch hitter. The switch hitter is kind of a dying thing in baseball right now. You don't see it quite as often. And with someone only 29 years old signed to a 7-year deal that can switch hit, that's a good thing to have. It creates more matchups, and it keeps him in the lineup. So I'm okay with this deal. I am for it.
Right. So do you really think he is as underrated as people say he is?
I think
he has to if you look at the contract, right?
Yeah. I would say, I mean, who said it? Was it Aaron Boone said it like 2 days before?
Yeah, he did.
Before they actually announced this deal, is that he is the most underrated player in baseball. Now the numbers to me still aren't quite there yet, but yeah, I do say he's underrated. He doesn't get brought up in conversations like some of these other elite center fielders do, and that's fine. Keep it that way. Keep him under the radar. Keep him comfortable. You don't want him to have any more added pressure on him, but you want him to perform and you want him to keep getting better. So yes, I think he's underrated in a way.
I agree. I don't think he's so. The Bryce Harper deal, it was very. They did the AAV low so they can go after other players, but so he's only making $25 million a year. But I still don't think he's $15 million a year better than Hicks. Harper's he's a great talent, but is he that much? Is he 2.5 Aaron Hicks's? I don't know. I don't know about that.
What I would like to do, and we should make note of this. We should do this for actually a couple players, and this goes back to our last episode talking about people writing players off after one bad outing or one bad game. We should see how Harper and Hicks stack up against each other at the end of the season.
Throughout the season?
Now Harper won't play left field, or will play left field or right field in Philly, but Hicks will probably play
center
the whole season in center field if he stays healthy. So we should take the two and combine their numbers and see, who stacks up better, who got the better deal, which team got the better deal, which team got the better, more effective player. Harper's going to obviously drive in a lot of runs and bring a crowd. Hicks doesn't necessarily get that kind of attention, but he and Harper still kind of play to the same level. Hicks is a little.
I guess you have to kind of look at you should probably look at their WAR numbers, I guess. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the WAR analytics things, but I guess that's how you have to judge them.
I mean, that's how they analyze players and assign value to players these days, and it's a growing trend, and baseball teams are hiring analytics guys on their staff to evaluate players, and I really do think we should take Harper and Hicks and compare them at the end. Their home runs, their batting average, the number of at-bats, their on-base percentage, and their defensive metrics, because Harper isn't quite the same defensive caliber as Hicks.
Not at all.
So no. I know we're painting a picture as Harper's not as good of a player as Hicks. He is a phenomenal talent, and he has won an MVP already in his short career. And if he plays to his potential, he could be an elite player and not necessarily worth the contract that he got. And we'll talk about this in our next episode. But comparing him to Hicks and seeing what kind of numbers Hicks puts up in relation to both Harper and his contract that he just signed with the Yankees should be an interesting conversation to have at the end of the season.
Yeah, Absolutely. So when we go back to the conversation about Cashman loading up a new core of players, how would you relate him to Bernie Williams, who was pretty much the core center fielder for the last dynasty of Yankees?
It's very similar. You can look at them as they're both switch hitters. They're both very good defensive players. They can hit for power. That's Bernie, not so much at the beginning of his career as towards the end. But I think the one leg up, obviously the World Series that Bernie won with the Yankees holds a big difference. But the other thing is the batting average, I think, is why I was never, like I said, not really a Hicks fan to begin with. But if he can improve his batting average, get more hits, maybe not try to hit home runs every at bat, because you can see when he steps into the batter's box, he's trying to crush the ball.
Trying to hit the ball really hard. Really
whereas
far.
Bernie was a contact hitter who could hit home runs. And I would like to see Hicks turn into that kind of player. I think that would make him more of a Yankee to me, Yankee center fielder in my eyes.
Yeah.
What about you?
So Bernie, obviously, I don't think he struck out as much as Hicks did, and that goes to the batting average thing. I think Hicks has to prove that he can play in the postseason to be in this conversation, because Bernie Williams obviously had a phenomenal postseason career. He's always in the postseason. He has the record for most postseason home runs in baseball. Oddly enough. So I think that's when we can really, if the Yankees should be in the playoffs this year and for many years to come. So I really want to see Hicks really step up and be a leader in the postseason to become in this conversation with Bernie Williams.
And you can take that statement and apply it to all these young guys.
You really can.
That they're looking to extend. Like, I know they're in conversations with Didi's agents and Dellin, and obviously they'll be looking to extend Judge and Sanchez down the line. But you want to see how these guys not only perform during the regular season, but if they're going to build this core of young guys, they got to be able to perform in the postseason. And if you're extending a guy like Aaron Hicks, who has yet to really perform in the playoffs, then it may work getting them there. But if he's not there in the postseason, it might not be people. That's another thing that you could say he's not really a Yankee yet until he performs in the postseason.
That's what New Yorkers want. New Yorkers want production in the postseason.
Yep. So same thing applies to all those other guys. So it'll be interesting when the Yankees make the postseason this year, because they're going to, wild card or division, doesn't matter. They're going to be there. You want to see if now Judge has performed so far, but you want to see Sanchez start to perform. You want to see Aaron Hicks, especially because that's what we're talking about right now. And then you'll know whether or not the Yankees got a steal with this contract.
Absolutely. But I think in the end, so I think they both agree it's a good contract for the Yankees, for Hicks. He's locked up for a while, and now just one thing left to do, and that's for him to go out there and prove that he is underrated with this contract.
Absolutely agree, Brad. So that kind of wraps up this episode. I know it was kind of a short one. I hope you guys appreciate that, because I know our last few have been running longer, and we want you to be here with us. So anyways, with that said, thanks for watching this episode of Yankee Chatter. Again, find us on YouTube, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, tell strangers, whatever floats your boat. We're on iTunes. Take us with you in the car, put us in your pocket, not us physically, but on your device.
No, I'm not going to fit in your pocket.
No, me neither. But check us out on the socials. Search Yankee Chatter on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and we're there. So
we're there.
Engage with us. But with that said,
Brad McCormick, Brad or Chatter 1 on Twitter. Come on, you know this by now.
Yep. Cool.
Hopefully.
But in case you forgot, that's who he is, and I'm Greg Andriano. You can find me at GregAndriano05 on Twitter. Engage with us. We like having conversations, good conversations, and we're here to have fun.
All right. Well, until next time, until episode 12, which will be coming out soon. Go Yankees.